Again.
But
okay, good.
Yeah, you see me?
We're good.
Okay.
I see you. Very good.
It's only on half of my screen. You know,
yeah, that's the way it works.
Oh, that's how it works.
For
okay,
you
send him.
If you want, I can do it this way too, and we can talk this way.
Yeah, but I don't see myself. I only see you.
You should see yourself. You should see yourself.
No, I don't see myself.
But we can see.
It says request to be in this live video, send request. So should I push send request?
No, you're already in the live video. You're already in.
Yeah, but you can I don't see myself.
So press again. Press the button again. Let's see if something comes up. It's looking good here.
Yeah, but I don't see myself. I only see half of your face.
Do you wanna do it again?
I can always do it again.
But okay, so let's.
But I don't have to see myself.
So press the.
As long as other people can see.
Okay. Can everybody?
You have to.
Can everybody see Wei? There is 400 people watching us.
Yes,
other people. Can you see Wei?
Yes, I saw it. Yes. Yes. Hi.
Yes, they have responded that they can see us both. Don't worry, Wei. So we're going to talk a little bit. Thank you so much. This is the first series of lives that Corpart is going to be doing. And you are such a pleasure to always to be in touch with you, Wei. How is Cambridge?
Cambridge is like a botanic garden. It's really very nice to be locked down in Cambridge. The sky is blue with very white cloud. The wind is very gentle. And it's quite bright sunshine for past 2 months. Only one day has rain, so I cannot complain. It's really beautiful, and all kind of flowers blooming, and nobody. Very occasionally, you see there is one guy jogging, or it's almost nobody here.
Wei, what is the first thing you'll do when you are free again?
First I do is I'm going to miss this time. This is a very special moment for life, for not just for individual, but for human being. As we never had this kind of moment globally. So I think people often, of course, it's sad. Many people suffering and has very uncertainty about the future. But still, this is a very unique moment. It's really a challenge. I see it's something. It's not an accident, but rather has a long time preparation for something like that.
True. What was the first thing you wanted to do when you left prison back a few years ago?
When I was released, I want to see my son. I want to see my mom. I want to see the one I loved, Wang Fen, and my brother, and the relatives. And because you feel you owe them a lot. You feel it's not you miss them that much. You feel because you're not there, they worry so much about it. So I think also like this kind of situation today, people are being locked into very different locations. So sometimes even worse, if some relatives pass away, you have no chance to say goodbye or to be on the bedside to listen to the last wish of that person. I think that is probably the saddest thing can happen to a human life. I really want to ask you're the one who caused this disease. I'm a little bit jealous about you, you know, and
You're
you
jealous.
survived. Yeah, I'm jealous. You know, I'm always jealous
Yeah.
anybody who in very, very unique condition. And I don't know. Do you had a moment to think about death?
Yes. Yes, I did. I did.
So
I actually dreamed you were in this dream, but the dream was very interesting.
I hope it's not a wet
We
dream, right?
were together with some beautiful bats, and the bats were always looking.
Oh, you mean the bats which can fly?
Yes, bats that can fly, and we were amongst them, and it was all right because what it felt was they were looking at us and saying, "Why are you guys upside down?"
Okay, that makes sense.
They were looking at why are, you know,
that makes sense. We all upside down in
they're all upside.
In best view, you know, this is an interesting, very interesting questions they're asking.
Yeah.
So you didn't answer that. I think you wake up.
I am still trying to answer that. This is still coming to my mind every day. Why are we upside down? There's something quite interesting if we think that between bats and humans, we share a common ancestor. We have a very old common ancestor, 80 million years ago. And bats are a very successful species. 20% of the mammals in the world are bats. They are the most successful single species in the world. And we are one of the biggest failures in the world because we only have one species. All the other species of men have disappeared. So they are very successful. And we are a big failure. And they see the world differently. And I thought about, but I'll tell you one thing. Death is not the biggest problem. Living is the biggest problem.
What is the biggest problem?
Living, not dying. Dealing with this alive is the difficult thing.
Okay.
But let me ask you a question. Has slowing down been good for you? Has this affected you? Has slowing down been good for you? Has this?
I think as an individual, it's always worked independently. So this doesn't affect me that much because I don't feel the same speed or I don't have the same sense about time as, you know. So in that sense, I feel I have more time to appreciate things I never pay attention to. And I feel very luxury actually in that sense, and because there's nobody hurry you, and you don't have to catch a time except we have to do this, and but this is probably the second or third talk I have today, and some are related to projects, some relate to some other issues, and I do feel people are using so much of internet. We are in very special moment. The reality is only you know, we can call anybody any moment, and especially at this time they always at home. You will never ask where are this guy, where are they, and they are home, and their families are next to them, and everybody is there. So that's something never happened in the novel or in the reality.
Yeah, it's true. And do you see how do you see that this global event, I mean, this one thing, will affect your artwork?
I'm not clear about your question.
Yeah, I mean, is it possible to create artwork today without referring to the pandemic? Do you think it's an artist's mind?
I think for me, I'm always very refreshed myself with the difficulty and obstacles. So I don't see myself. I cannot block myself from a human's fear or sorrow or painful moment. Those I think is a moment we always should pay attention to, and should make an effort to understand the situation. So
absolutely, go ahead.
Yeah, so when this started, I decided to make a film in China, and about this Wuhan, the city. The city has been blocked down, and but to do a film with remote on the line and to directing it, it takes a special skill and a special attention, because we have to work with the patients, with doctors, with volunteers, and to be really in the core of what's happening, and they have to upload their information. And thanks God, China have very good internet, almost in every location, and so we can work day and night, because every night is daytime in China. So we are really on the two sides of the planet, and which is very interesting. We never really see the same sky. Never. It's not possible, and we only can imagine what's happening on the other side. So we get the film done. Every shooting has been done, and it's going to be come out this autumn.
Because I mean, but let me understand this, because you're closely following the Hong Kong protests before, and now you're closely following the Wuhan outbreak. And do you think the censorship of the media in China has had any impact in our ability to respond to the outbreak, to the spread of the virus? Do you think that censorship in China affected our ability to respond?
I think China is a state. By nature, it has to control the information. So the censorship is a very natural act of Chinese state. This is, I don't think anybody should be surprised by that, because it's authoritarian state. That means you only control humans' mind or people's mind by give them limited information, or the information you want to let them have. So they have a highest technology in controlling private data, and they have this facial recognition, activity recognition, economic and health information.
Recognition doesn't work with masks.
Yeah, everything is
Yeah.
being very well controlled with very high tech. You know, it's very well developed. So China have a confidence to cover the information from beginning. But of course, they never imagine this can develop into such a bad situation globally. And I think they must be very regret what they did at the very beginning of the virus when they start to be a wild spirit.
Yeah, I imagine. And do you think that the Hong Kong protests would exist again after the outbreak of the virus?
Hong Kong are facing unsolvable more firmly and trying to maintain so-called a more stable society there. But Hong Kong, the young people, young generation, they grew up in a modern society. They are very well informed, very well educated, and they believe in freedom. They cannot lose this battle again. They know Hong Kong will be unbearable if they don't win. So that's why they put up such a very touching and impressive fight. That fight lasted months till the corona virus break. But still, you see, they are not going to stop it. You know, they know they have no space to back up. You know, they have to keep fighting. And also, China will not give up. They will not give up an inch. They never agreed for any demand from young people of Hong Kong. So it could be a very tragic end because there's simply no real communication, and the communists never really negotiate, and they will not let Hong Kong to become a very liberal location.
I wanted to ask your opinion about the food markets in China. What do you think about the way the food markets are in China?
I think the food market in China is not as bad as we try to imagine, because you see this kind of food market basically in every poor nation. You know, there's not much regulation, and basically you sell whatever you get, and the disease not necessarily really from the food market. You know, we all know. You know, without reasonable doubt, there's clearly a disease research center, which is a few hundred meters away from the so-called food market. If without a real investigation, China officially start to blame trying to lead people's attention to the food market, from my direct instinct, it's not normal, you know, because they should be much more careful than just trying to assume this is from the animals.
Do you believe China could have created this virus intentionally?
I don't think so. I don't think China have any intention or willing to create this disease, but very much possible is leaking from the so-called this kind of scientific research, because that can happen in, it's yeah.
How do you think this situation will affect refugees globally?
I think Yes, today, if we talk about people locking down, we talk about how the modern society are so difficult in dealing with being put in this kind of solitude and confinement. But think about the refugees. There has been in this kind of locking down conditions for years. The average refugee would have that condition for 25 years. Mm-hmm. That means their lifetime or live in the camp or in some kind of very, very, even like jail-like condition. And that means their school can never really find, their children can never find a school. The adults cannot find a job. And the old people cannot find a hospital. And, this is, a very, very horrifying situation for refugee camps. And globally, there's millions of those kind of people. Very often they are being forgotten, and because the problem doesn't really affect other people.
Yeah. Do you think that this is the beginning of the 21st century? Do you think this is the mark that we start a new era from now on?
I do think this functions as alarming for the new century. We all live in this very, very unique time, and our knowledge and our capability, scientific understanding of the situation are so developed. But at the same time, we are so ignorant and we are so uneducated about ourselves and our society. And we lost compassion, and we lost the imagination, and we lost a lot of courage. So it's with such a very unbalanced situation of our human society or so-called humanity, I think this is just the beginning of the disasters, and many things can go very unpredicted, because we have done too much to serve the nature and as and a part of the environment. So once we take ourselves out, it's like American says, the president says, American first. If we only think humans first, then that's the beginning of the end. It ultimately will lead us to disaster after disaster.
Yeah, I have exactly the same feeling. I mean, one of the signs that this has is that we have to be aware of the different species that occupy this planet at once, and there's no humans first. We are in this together.
Yes, you can have humans first, but maybe human to die first. I think that the environment will be indifferent, and after human disappeared, you can see even the wild animals start walking in the city. You see those fish come back to those areas they extinct for a long time, and you see the nature. The spring comes, and all the flowers are blooming, and then you realize we are just passenger of this so-called wonderful world. You really realize we should be much humble, and we should understand we cannot ask too much, too greedy, and also very important, we cannot let those huge corporations and to make a profit and extreme profit without any ethic or aesthetic restraints. So that is put the human condition in very dangerous situation.
It's true. Do you think a globalized world is challenged, is threatened? I mean, do you think the whole idea of globalization might be ending?
I think the globalization mostly it's not besides as a political idea, but it still is leading by the economic profit, the way capitalism are working. So it's being challenged when China become a big raised up as one of the superpower, because China is not a part of this Western established value. It doesn't have the same value system. And China is risen up because the West want the profit from China. And China have sacrificed basically so much about environment, human rights, and social justice and education to meet this condition to become rich. And now China developed in many ways and seems have a much stronger strategy and a much stronger plan than the West nations. And the West are so much invested in China, it cannot pull out their legs anymore. They are on the same boat. And China is very strategically winning the battles. So it's very crucial to see what is next. How much the Western world and the China, both how much they learn from this tragic moment.
And do you think humanity will show its best or its worst pandemic?
I don't see humanity, there's not much, not so impressive about our humanity during this crisis. First, I say many nations just simply collapsed. You see the so-called European Union, or you see many states, they simply doesn't function. It just they at the beginning they ignored and for whatever the reason, and it gave the chance for this disease to spread in such a very wild function, and at the same time, and you can see we cannot come up a good solution for this situation. I think there's so many lessons to be learned, and to think the global community need to really establish some very fundamental understanding about how the human being would function, besides different beliefs, different religion, or different language or cultural development. So there should have a common sense about how to deal with situation like this.
Yeah, building this common sense is going to be quite difficult. And I was just remembering that the title of our exhibition in Chile was Inoculation. Inoculation is exactly what we are living. It's the point in which a body invades a virus invades a body. I have, I cannot forget to go back and remember the importance of how one system gets connected with the other, and it transforms. And
we have to learn one system and has to coexist with several other systems, or we are in parallel condition, and which can be beautiful because there's a difference, but it can be dangerous because they have a very different movement, a very different goal or rhythm or target in life. So it can have clashes. So this virus is a perfect example. It come from nowhere, and it tried to survive through human system, and our immune system would start to attack them, but same time would destroy ourselves. So, and we don't know how it would develop and also multiple themselves to really to find their host, and so that all those issues are really can come as some kind of lesson or alarm for our social or political study.
Yeah. Do you find that there's something that really caught my attention by looking at the numbers that we are living in? India, which has a similar population than China, which is near China, which has very complex social distancing possibilities and all, have had less cases than Belgium. How do you? Why would you think India has had such, I would say, success in this situation?
I would not say it's a success. I would say it somehow illustrate society's how it functions. If the people are not have a tight community, and the disease cannot pass it from one to another. It requires very
tight
and very frequent communication, and so in that sense, the human behaving are very different.
Yeah.
But it's dangerous. It's still dangerous. Still very dangerous because it passes into those very poor area, and India and also Pakistan. They have a lot of very, very poor groups, and the disease can be widely spread.
I think this disease has a very selective process, because there are places like Haiti and Dominican Republic that are the same island with more or less the same type of community, and one has 30, 40, 50 times more than the other. So these are weird numbers. But anyway, I want to ask you something very personal. What do you fear?
I do fear if I lost the communication with you now, because I don't know how to get back to Instagram. What I do fear is, I really fear is lost communication. And as a human being or as a individual, I do feel the sense of myself through others. And that's why, as an artist, I have to express myself, and has trying to find some kind of new language to communicate, and trying to maximize our expression and to find out who we are. So, and if I lost that skill or that ability, and my life seems not living anymore. It's not worth to live. So that's that's my condition.
Yeah. I have a few questions here from people that wrote about it. Her name is Carolina Plaza de los Reyes and Moises Lusa, and they ask you, what do you think will be the role of art in the post-pandemic? What will art be able to do after this lockout ends?
I think art is a tool, or is a vehicle, always brings ourselves, brings us to ourselves by really clearly express ourselves, or to find out ourselves. We find the humanity. We find how this quality coexist in the larger society. So whenever there's a tragic, and for artists, it always comes back to yourself.
Always comes back to yourself, yes. There's another question here, quite interesting, from Virginia Araya. She asks you, are you developing any work?
Yes, for me, it provides the best working opportunity, because I can concentrate, and I have 3 films in editing. One is about coronavirus. One is about Hong Kong's uprising. One is about the Rohingya refugees. So these 3 films will all end up in this year. In this autumn, they will come out. So this is the best moment for write. So I
Perfect.
also write my book, and I daily I would have some kind of interviews or conversation. So it doesn't affect me at all. Of course, I will not have so many exhibitions, which is in my favor, because I have too many exhibitions, and so in next year I may not have so many exhibitions. So,
do you think our sense of trust between people will be impaired, will be affected for a long time? Meaning handshakes, hugs, our ability to trust each other, and visiting people. Do you think this is going to be affected, the warmth between people?
I think the human behaving are somehow changing, and I think it's rather, it will not affect our emotions or understanding, but rather to have a new sense of a dissident, the new measurement about our space and our time. So I think that's always interesting, if you have a different sense about the time and the space, because those are most important, essential ingredients about our sensitivity. And this also most essential for us to understand the human relations, with your neighbor, with your loved ones, and with your, all those necessary connections or not so necessary connections. We are changing, and something become more important, something become less important.
Mm-hmm. What has become more important for you?
What Well, I think certainly I'm much more sensitive about the using time, and you know, time means a lot more than before because I'm more conscious about it, and also about my relation to outside, because daily I want to walk out. I just simply every day I walk out. So I'm lucky, you know, the Cambridge is like a botanic garden. So there's a lot of space you can go, and you can enjoy the nature. And I'm not very scared. Till now I haven't wear any facial mask because I'm just
Show me your mask.
I don't have a mask. My face is a mask, and you'll never see my real face yet. Yeah. If I take off mask,
don't you have a mask there?
No. If you take off my mask, you will see a skeleton.
And how has your family been dealing with this? I believe it's been
my family
positive.
are doing well. You know, my Wang Fen, my partner, she's doing editing, so she has to work day and night to do editing, film editing. And Ilo is on online study, and he enjoyed, and I think he can study lifetime like online. You know, it doesn't really hurt him at all. And suddenly you feel you have such a luxury with the time and with the family, because you're locked together anyway. So even they don't like you because they don't like me, but sometimes, but they cannot get rid of me because, you know, that would be too painful to get rid of.
Yeah, they will be too painful. Wei, thank you so much for your time. This was lovely. You are using this time so creatively and so positively. And despite all the negative things around the world, there is a positive energy coming from you.
I think do you want really should, yeah, I think yes, it's difficult for everyone, but we really should also appreciate the moment like this, because this something from the God, you know, from some super power set up this to look at us, to see, you know, how we would react to a situation like that, and we don't know what is the end. You know, we just have to be very appreciate every second, and to enjoy the life. And I feel very happy you come back to do this, because I really worried when I heard you're one of them. You know, I already lost a friend. You know, she is a writer, but she cannot hold on anymore. But seems you're pretty lucky. So thank you. It's been intense, and I think, you know, it's good to be alive. It's good to be here. It's good to be with you all. Yeah. All right. Okay. Wei,